All right, Saga, what are you looking at?
Well, to start off with, I saw Top Gun over the weekend. It was absolutely incredible. Legitimately, one of the best movies that I've seen in the theater in nearly a decade. And it made such an impression, I thought I'd do a monologue here. Not about the plot or review or of those sorts, but perhaps what the movie itself tells us about where we are in culture today and how that might matter for the country. Now, as I mentioned in our last show, I can't help but shake the feeling that we are in the middle of a major vibe shift in this country. And I think this movie and its success are a great signifier of that. First, and very heartening to me, is this. Top Gun could have been a cautionary tale about modern Hollywood. Most of us know the story at this point. The only way that Hollywood makes major money is China, since they have such a big population. The CCP only lets movies in that adhere to their cultural standards and which don't show any pro-US messaging or anything that can be conceived of as anti-China, which in a way means that the CCP, effectively for nearly a decade, had a veto vote over one of America's greatest exports, its own culture. Now, this resulted in consternation when early promos of the film were released in 2019, and many people, including myself, noted that the jacket on Tom Cruise's back was changed from the original movie to remove the Taiwanese flag. Now look, it's a small thing, but it was the perfect symbol of how Hollywood was going out of their way to placate their Chinese masters. But here's the good news. Even their bootlicking doesn't work anymore. After going out of their way to try and court the Chinese and their investors, they still pulled out of the movie. China's Tencent Holdings, which is a massive media conglomerate, which is also involved in the NBA drama, was originally supposed to co-finance this film, but the CCP forced them to drop their support of the film because they felt that it was too pro-US. Too pro-US, even though the enemy in the movie is faceless, and as it was in Top Gun 1, and no spoilers, but they even acknowledge that the faceless enemy has great technology. So that's how paranoid and nuts that they are over in China. Now, after ordering Tencent to drop financing, the government also does not like it whenever they let Top Gun in theaters right now. So, something years ago which would have killed that movie. But here's the good news. It doesn't appear to have mattered at all. Tencent dropped their financing, the Taiwanese flag came back to the jacket, and the movie still broke massive records here in this country. In fact, Top Gun is just the latest in massive Hollywood blockbusters to hit it big, even though it was not allowed in China. It made $300 million worldwide on its opening and is going to easily make back its marketing production budget by the end of this week, making it a mega profitable blockbuster. This is just the latest movie to do so. Reports have surfaced over the last month that the reason the Chinese refused to allow the latest Spider-Man movie in the country was because it was too pro-US by featuring the Statue of Liberty. That movie, despite not being released into China, made $2 billion. Its fellow Marvel release, Doctor Strange, was also banned from China, supposedly because, get this, of a single scene for a fleeting second where a newspaper kiosk featured in Chinese characters an anti-CCP newspaper headline. That was it. Disney still refused to cut the scene. Boom, they got the axe in China. Doctor Strange also went on to nearly net $1 billion. The point is that all of this was basically unthinkable not even 5 years ago. Hollywood has discovered you don't need China to make great movies and to make a lot of money. If the Chinese government wants to subject its population to Wolf Warrior 7, they can be our guest. It remains one of the dumbest pieces of film I've ever tried to watch. And look, they've got to give kids something to watch on day 197 of lockdown. But beyond the China angle, which I do think is tremendously important, there's also a metacultural one. There was not a single political point made in Top Gun 2. And my God, was it refreshing. There was a faceless enemy, there was a team, Tom Cruise looked cool, it was a classic narrative arc. No pretenses, no politics, nothing in any form throughout the entire thing. Per reporting around the film, that was actually meticulously followed by the production team, who wanted it to be able to appeal to as many people as possible. Great, it's what people have been missing. As critic Lon Harris put it, quote, Top Gun Maverick is the least cynical Hollywood movie in maybe a decade. No winking, no deconstruction, no arch attempts to outsmart the audience, just a big, satisfying, heartwarming, well-made piece of mainstream entertainment. And I think that's actually a very important observation. For a long time, and I can't really pinpoint when, Hollywood has basically just been Marvel movies, Marvel knockoff movies, the occasional gem that is allowed to hit the silver screen, and then obviously a ton of streaming content. Some of which was awesome, most of which is garbage. Watching Top Gun in the theater as a tentpole movie with no so-called controversy, shoehorned politics, it felt like a return to a bygone age, even for just a brief moment. Now, maybe I'm reading way too much into this, but I do believe that the instant success of the film and its near universal love is something both to be celebrated and to really be thought about. To me, it just seems like the institutional insanity of the last decade or so is just breaking. The Johnny Depp, Amber Heard trial, Biden, poll numbers being at record low, the mainstream media finally acknowledging corporate Pride Month campaigns are very cringe. All of that to me just seems connected, part of moving on from something. As Allison Davis wrote in New York Magazine in February 2022, a vibe shift is coming. A lot of people made fun of that essay. I loved it, and I've been thinking about it ever since. Top Gun, I think, is part of that. Or maybe it's not, and I'm crazy. And even if I am, at least trust me on this, go see this movie. It's awesome. So you gotta go see the movie, Crystal.
Okay. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.